to try to mix it up a little bit. I get to talk about user interface and branding and all the good pieces that use the other side of your brain. So all the smart people, they can relax for a little bit. So obviously all of our panelists are going to kind of chime in. So what I think I'm going to do, guys, is I'm just going to kind of roll through some screenshots and some statistics that I put up, and then I'll just roll them by you guys. But I'll introduce myself first. I'm Doug Ralston, president of mobiManage. We provide and build apps and mobile sites utilizing a cloud platform and really integrate a lot of different marketing features. We've been very lucky. We've been in this space almost 5 years, which is a lifetime for most, and gotten to really be involved with a lot of different kinds of companies, from Cold Stone Creamery to Blimpies to Visit Las Vegas, Visit Chicago, a lot of travel and tourism. Worked with a lot of great advertising agencies, worked with a lot of great integration companies. So some of the slides and things you're going to see are going to be experiences that I've gone through or personally been involved with. But I'm going to try to take the expertise of the panel to be able to make sure that we kind of answer some of those questions and kind of mix it up a little bit. Anybody has any questions, just kind of chime in, and we'll try to make it a little interesting here. So Sharon, I'll let you start off. You can introduce yourself.
Sure. I'm Sharon Knitter. I'm the Senior Director of Mobile at Cars.com. How many of you know what Cars.com is? A few here and there. So it's for those of you who don't, I like to think of it as an online classified site, if you will. We're owned by 5 different newspaper companies. We've been around for about 13 years. Most of our revenue comes from dealers. Dealers pay a monthly subscription to put all of their vehicle listings on Cars.com. And then we also have 20 editors who review cars, and then the rest of our revenue comes from the manufacturers like Nissan or Lexus. So we started in mobile about 2007, if you'll believe it. In fact, does anybody know when the first iPhone launched? July of 2007, and we launched in April of 2007. So if you really think about it, how people were manipulating all of that. So we've been doing mobile for quite some time.
Excellent.
Hi, I'm Gil Rangel from ManySites. Our company we're basically trying to change the world with taking everybody's website and making it all mobile friendly. And on top of that, with our back-end CMS system of the client and the business owner being able to have the power to edit and update their website on their own, on the fly, whenever they need to. If it's a restaurant, they have a fish special, they're able to have that posted. We're out of fish. We got to take that off and put another special real quick. They're able to do it literally that fast. Be able to take pictures at an event like here, and then go to the CMS backend system, upload it immediately like Facebook, done real time. Be able to share the whole experience. That is pretty much the nuts and bolts of what we do, but our biggest thing is really there's so much going on here. I mean, there's just a wealth of knowledge, and these great minds in this room are just overwhelming, and it's just fantastic, But one of the biggest core things that we keep that's foundation for our business is keeping it simple. It's got to load fast. It's got to be quick information. It's got to be easy access. It has to work as there's 4GS and all these other stuff, but it has to work at least 3G, to come up fast. When they pull up their mobile phone, they want to get their information quick. They want to find out that Honda, that's this color, and that, working on, I love the Cars.com because I'm a car nut, but they want their information quick, fast. I call it like the McDonald's syndrome. They just want it fast. They want it now. And so they can move on with their lives. We're able to do the one-touch Google directions to also being able to Google directions to one-touch reservations. So it's a lot of fun interactivity to it, but again, it's adapted to each client and their needs, and get them from point A to point B as fast as I can.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
I think you're on.
You're on.
I'm on? Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Cesar Colozzi, and I am president and CEO of Arvis Mobile. We are a Chicago-based local company. We focus on mobile marketing services, but our theme is we never leave any mobile behind. So we develop mobile solutions that incorporate all active mobile headsets on the market. We have solutions for high-end smartphones, we have solutions for low-end BlackBerry phones, and we have solutions for low-end feature phone. We all talk about smartphones today, and it's great, I heard those numbers, but what's actually coming on the market, there's a concept of a dumb smartphone user.
Mm-hmm.
So what it
Yep.
really means,
Absolutely.
it means that people don't really change behavior as they change their phones. So I heard a lot of stories today that we have to educate people how to use their devices the way we want. It will never work. We have to develop solutions that actually embrace how people interact with their phones and what they can get out of the phones. So that's our model, how we develop our solutions. We focus on ROI. We provide solutions that maximize ROI. And on top of it, if we can get some coolness out of this, that's fine. But coolness doesn't really give you ROI, and that's what we do.
Hi, I'm Ed Deutscher from HSN. I'm the Operating Vice President of Emerging Technologies, which includes mobile and the connected home. HSN broadcasts live in about 96 million homes. Hopefully you've all seen it. We were the first retailer to broadcast live in HD across all 3 screens, includes mobile. So video is really at the forefront of a lot of our mobile experiences. And certainly when we first launched our iPad app, it's been a while now, we led with video. So certainly in the mobile space, there are a lot of complications, and even dating back several years when we first launched video, we work closely with not only the carriers, but also folks like Apple to really understand, how to provide an optimal experience for the consumer regardless of their bandwidth and connection. So if you have any questions in regards to that, I certainly can help answer that. It's been interesting, and we've certainly seen the space evolve. But ultimately, HSN, we feel we have a very strong mobile presence, and we've developed applications as well as mobile websites across all the major platforms and capabilities.
Excellent. Well, I think as you guys can tell, we got a good mixture up here. So based on all the slides that I'm going to kind of go through, I'll try to just make it short and sweet. I'll pass some things over to you guys, and we can kind of dive into the things that maybe you guys have had experience with. So the presentation as a whole, I should say the agenda, is kind of mixed up, so I'm going to kind of follow that agenda as much as I can. But statistically, we all know where mobile's going. We've seen the growth. I've seen the growth just in 12 months, or less than last time I spoke here. And we know that obviously all these pieces are about engaging with our customers and really about taking those next steps. So when we look at apps and mobile sites and all the different mediums you have from a mobile perspective, it's always interesting to see how customers are using them. And Cesar hit on it very well. As you've got dumb smartphone users for a good example, I guess. But the main thing is to be able to push and get information to our customers and to engage with them from a mobile perspective. It's key. It's key to not only brand but also user interface. So some of these pieces that I think we've seen, which is obviously SMS, push notifications if you have apps, deals and coupons. What's the best way to get to those customers, and what functions are really working? So from a perspective of what I've seen personally, it's always a part of the mix. So it's always part of a marketing strategy, a branding strategy, and even understanding that you have a call to action. Customers, if they are engaged with your brand, if they've downloaded your app, if they've looked at your mobile website, you want to make sure that you engage that customer. And obviously with apps, push notifications are amazing. That's one of the great parts of it. It can also really be abused. Anything that I've subscribed to, whether it's SMS or otherwise, I love getting messages that are branded towards me or in my interest level. But if I continue to get messages that aren't in my interest level, I start to get annoyed with it. And I also look at the different ways from a shopping experience to be able to drive those pieces based on preferences. So I don't know if you guys have dived too much into these pieces, but preferences, being able to actually set up where a user can engage based on what they're really interested in. So from an app perspective, perspective, these are some of the things that we've seen, being able to actually say, okay, I'm interested in cars that are between this range and this particular make and model, and being able to really push information that's relevant to that particular user. But all of these are components to a strategy. So I'll just kind of kick this to you guys real quick if you have some feedback or you'd like to see anything that's been successful, how you've engaged customers utilizing any of these SMS or push notifications, and if these have been successful. Sharon, I'll start with you.
Sure. So, our purchase is a little bit different because it's such a considered purchase. We don't think anybody's ever going to do all your research to buy a new car on a very small screen device. So that said, we actually break it off in a couple of ways of what we can even consider mobile, right? So, we see a lot of tablet traffic to the Wired site. Those behaviors are actually very similar to desktop. So what's important is when I look at the things people do, so in general on the PC and on the tablet, people are making calls to dealers or emailing dealers. On a small screen device, they're actually looking at driving directions or maps, right? Because they're out and about, they're going to this dealer, going to that dealer, and then, from a standpoint of how they're contacting folks. So what we think about is what's the mobile currency, right? And so in our business model, is it just a typical lead? Is it which is a little different than your question, I understand, but from our standpoint, it's also how do we provide products that sort of fit that right element,
Well, it's
at
about
the right time.
It's about experience as well, right? What you're saying is
Yes.
you understand what your customer wants, and you're driving that experience, that shopping experience, by making sure you're getting the content that's going to be most relevant to them. And you can use that medium by maybe how the interface is structured, having that click to call or click to map being one of the first things they see.
Right,
Things like that.
or even things that we would sell our dealers as an advertising product. If we know it's going to be on a mobile device, well, maybe it should be something that's an interactive map and not a traditional display ad, because quite frankly, if they're on their car in the way to a dealership, they've already made the brand decision.
Sure.
But there's other things they should be doing. So it's this idea of the right where, when, and how.
Right, exactly. Okay.
And Doug, you brought up a really good point. It's the experience. With our restaurant and hospitality clients, it's, the mobile and the SMS, it's 1/5 of the whole pie of the experience, of the experiential marketing. For us and our restaurant clients is there's still, here's the latest menu, here's the latest information, here's the latest drink specials, here's our special events, but it's also, hey, I know Tony at here, it's a busy Friday night, he's going to get us in, You go to that particular place, they're going to buy you, comp you a drink or something like that. And I have restaurant clients where they'll spend $3 to buy them that appetizer, because, hey, we got a free appetizer, it's great, And then they're working with the referral program. Hey, you bring in 2 more friends, and they send out the text blast, or they send out the direct email or something like that.
Now, do you utilize loyalty programs and things like that? So to say if you are a restaurant or restaurant group, you have multiple locations. And obviously, everybody always likes to go places they're familiar with and people that greet them and know their name, right? So I think there's probably ways, and maybe you've engaged in that, where there's ways where you can actually make sure you're engaging with that customer at that level. So whether that's at, joining a group by the amount of money you've spent at that particular restaurant, or tracking those type of integration points. And I think that really plays into the data piece of it. But if you're able to get that kind of customer information where you can drive that kind of personalized experience, and there's definitely the people in this particular event that probably have that technology already that allow you to do those. But those are great points. And I think that you're absolutely hit the nail on the head, which is being able to take and really personalize a message, and also including people into a particular group and serving up content and things to that group to make that experience really, push forwards.
Right.
Good point. Caesar, you have anything to add?
Yeah, I think experience is about everything. And what I really find very frustrating and challenging when we work with our clients, we develop very sophisticated mobile solutions, and I can give you hundreds of examples. When you go in store with your mobile device, there's no really coverage with your phone. So how you can engage with your customer in store when you don't really provide your basic services that are fundamentals to actually engage over mobile. And that's very challenging. And for last 3-4 years, we always hear 2009 was actually a year of mobile. Then was 2010. Now we are in 2012, and we are still not there. There's no really that much changing on daily basis. We are coming with new technologies. We are coming with augmented reality. We are coming with QR codes. But those fundamentals are still missing. When you go to other markets, when you go to Japan, when you go to Europe, for example, you go on the train, you have a connection with your device. Here, it's not the case. So, we spent a lot of energy and resources actually deploying mobile technologies, but if we never put those fundamentals in place, we'll never be successful, and that's the big challenge we have.
Okay. Excellent. Ed?
Yeah, I think there's really two good examples in our case. I mean, one, in Q4 of last year, we launched the concept of My Favorites across our mobile platforms, and really sort of leading into the whole personalized opportunity where people can simply navigate across the experience, and if they see a product, a brand, a search or something, some activity they've performed within the experience, they can simply tap the heart that's on the screen. That sort of allows us to aggregate that information and then provide recommendations to them. So then as they're navigating through the experience, if they like the given brand, we'll highlight a product within that brand to tell them, hey, this product belongs to one of your favorite brands. And then we also start featuring, if, for example, we have a show that's upcoming with that given brand, we'll also surface that up within the experience to tell them, hey, so-and-so is going to be on air within the next hour or next couple days. So that's one good example. The other example that we just launched within the last month is we provide the ability for customers to live chat. So again, I mentioned video earlier, so as people are watching our live show, they can actually chat along with it. And it's really a customer-to-customer communication vehicle. Certainly can be a B2C opportunity as well. But really, our customers are strong affinity folks. They love HSN. They love to talk about HSN. They love their personalities and the celebrities we have. And so we gave them that outlet to just simply sit there and just chat all day. And it's just another good example of where they can post questions. Other customers can comment on whether or not someone's bought that particular product. Did they like it? Did it work well? All of the above. And it really saves us the opportunity for them and having someone to sit there, or even saves us from questions coming into our call center because people can just simply ask other consumers.
Yeah. Can I just
Yeah,
build
sure,
on something
absolutely.
Cesar said? I don't know how many of you saw, eMarketer released a study yesterday, and it talked about consumers' expectation of your wireless products. So either your M.dot site or your apps. They expect your M.dot site to load at the same rate that your wired site, which to them means under 2 seconds.
Yeah.
40% will immediately abandon and go to your competitor. And of those 40%, it was like 35% who are immediately going to go on social media and say, don't try this site, it sucks. So, I mean, that's pretty frightening when you think about it, right?
Absolutely.
So to a large degree, it's like, you got to get those basics
Yeah,
right.
no doubt, no doubt.
Right.
Well, Ed, I think that the things you're talking about obviously are light years above some of the people probably in this audience, but I think that the cool thing about what you're doing, especially engaging with customers through live chat, customer to customer, we already know that social media influences people to buy, right? We know it influences people on how that experience was, so I can imagine, I know HSN, I mean, those people are probably pretty die-hard. That's got to be amazing for that communication. But maybe there's something we can all learn from that perspective, and maybe as you guys are thinking about, engaging in shopping experience, those are all things you can think about how your actual customers and users interact with each other, and maybe ways to take that internally rather than pushing that to a social media. There may be some really cool things there. I mean, these are all kind of food for thought. So
Doug, on that point, what we did, so we have folks rate the dealers. Now remember, 70% of our revenue comes from dealers, so this was done with an awful lot of trepidation on our senior management team. But if you're not going to if you're not going to look at it on our site, you're going to go someplace else to get a dealer recommendation or whatever. So that's the way we've tried to engage our consumers to rate our dealers
right.
and look at that.
Right. I think it's always best when you can kind of control that experience, right? I mean, those are all core pieces to how users were going to interact with your interface, and also it helps you gather that data so you can actually start to change and make sure that interface is customized by how a customer might engage with your brand. So as we kind of look at these pieces, and I'm just going to jump into brand experience and some of the things that we've been involved with, but also understanding that each one of these experiences from an interface perspective will have some of the similarities we've already talked about. about, right? You definitely have to have it speed, and now it's becoming where people demand that that's as quick as what their website is, which I think is a big issue for a lot of mobile sites. I would say all of you guys should check out your mobile site, see how quick it is, and make sure that you've got those pieces, because you do not want to lose a customer because that information is not coming quick enough, and obviously mobile users are impatient. But also for me, being able to really get to the content that I want to get to in search and be able to get through information that's very applicable to what I really want. So if I want to search for leather shoes or Calvin Klein belt or whatever it might be, I want to make sure that that content's relevant. I want to make sure that experience takes me into, and obviously we want it to go through a call to action, right? So I always look at it too from a user perspective. I want to keep as much information as I can on that small screen without having to scroll down, without having to really look through things. So if I hit something, I want to be able to have that almost accordion to that page and make sure that that user interface keeps them engaged, and make sure that, again, the less scrolling, the better, I always say, and making sure that that always kind of takes you step by step through the process. So another kind of thing, and I'll kind of pitch this to you guys here in a sec, another thing that I've started to look at, which is something I enjoy, is bigger fonts, bigger buttons, bigger ways to engage. I have fat fingers. It's always hard for me to get through the clicks and be able to get to those pieces. So obviously looking towards a user interface that complements the way people are starting to move. And I think we have Apple to think of that, to really offer that up to us, which is making it very easy to navigate, clean, simple. If I want to search by category, by type, by search by particular function, this all has to be part of that engagement and that brand interface. And I know Cars.com does this very well from the things that I have seen from you guys. But overall, when we really look through those pieces, and I'll kind of back up actually on that one, from a brand perspective, is there anything you guys want to add from there? So obviously engaging people, making the sites easy to get to, making sure that things fit on the screen, making sure it's quick, making sure that the content's relevant and that I can search and get to the information. Any piece you guys want to kind of chime in there?
Yeah, design, it still has to look like that retailer store. They still have to feel like they're going to that shopping store or that restaurant. Because so the design, the look, the feel, the artwork, the photos, the fonts, but again, like you said, it's got to be, big buttons, easy functionality, less scrolling, more, the content, the media content that they want, and be able to hit here and go here quickly. So, but the design is still a huge part.
And we'll talk about call to action too, which is really the commerce piece of it, right? Which everybody's very interested in. Ed, anything you want to add?
Yeah, we take a hard look at the experience quite often. If you look, probably dating back 6 months, our experience now is much different than it was. And we actually went to a different design, really, with sort of larger icons instead of just really listing links even on our homepage, because we felt it was easier to navigate and it was much more usable. But the other key thing about it too was performance. The key thing that we've been hyper focused on is we use Keynote sort of for our monitoring as well as performance measurement, and we've seen ourselves sort of scream up the chart really in the last several months, mainly because we've been really monitoring and really taking a hard look at how we measure across sort of the U.S. and making sure our pages are optimized as well as usable. So can't speak to it enough. Certainly don't want to sacrifice the brand as a result of minimizing sort of the creative and the elements on the page. At the same time, have to be much more mindful of it on mobile.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're starting to turn the whole thing on its head. So 18 months from now, most desktops will in fact be touchscreen. So where do you really say what's the center of the universe in 18 months? Are we going to be thinking of tablet as really the primary source? And it might not be mobile, right? It doesn't feel like mobile, but today what you learn on tablets, for at least from Cars.com's perspective, is what's going to inform our new website designs.
Right.
Because the fact of the matter is it's going to have to be more similar than different.
Sure. Caesar?
Oh, I think there's still a lot of confusions for the last 4 years when mobile really picked out, and the best example I can find, I still don't understand why people call tablet a mobile when only 9% of users are using them when they move, okay? So this is one example, and putting tablets together with other mobile devices into the single bucket and having single mobile marketing campaign covering those together, it doesn't make any sense. And on top of it, when we talk about brand engagement, you mentioned push notifications. I think there are some aspects of mobile marketing channels that are out of control of a single brand. For example, if I download 65 different apps from different brands that I love, and everyone has push notification, and they send me a notification every single day, I will never work with them again. So this is outside of a single brand control that I don't really know how we can really solve today.
I think that's going to be interesting as it kind of evolves too. You're right. I'm not sure people download 65 apps, but bless their heart if they do. But if they have that many, you're right. I think those are the kind of things that we're going to struggle with. And as mobile evolves, I think from a user perspective, we all have to be cognizant of that, right? To be able to really understand those pieces. So I'm going to keep kind of rolling through these. Whoops, wrong way. So when we start talking about the call to action and payment pieces, obviously a user interface has to drive a customer to call to action. Now we've mostly been integrated with PayPal and Google, and there's obviously a lot more e-commerce systems out there that are even more elaborate and have those pieces. But I think from a user and shopping experience, the thing to make sure that I think any user wants to do, if I am engaging with your brand, if I'm going to your mobile site or downloading your app, I want a call to action. If I see something cool in a magazine, a watch, or whatever it might be, I want to make sure that I want to go through that experience, and I think you're going to see some statistics that show people really want to buy off their mobile devices. So integrating some sort of a payment platform is key. We all know that. Most of the people here are because of that particular piece of it. But really for me, it's more of a call to action than anything. You need to have some sort of strategy to take that customer through the purchasing process. I need to make that very simple and easy, like the user interface piece that we've already talked about. So let's talk a little bit about mobile shoppers. So some of these statistics I think you guys will probably already know, but I think from a lot of piece of it, or a lot of parts of these things are really about how consumers interact with brands and how shoppers really go from maybe browsing to actually looking and taking on this information. So 45% shop online, 41% find and use coupons, 40% use obviously barcodes and scans to get information and obviously get the discounts that they need. So all these pieces are really key to overall experience. So when we talk about how a mobile user gets in and interacts with your brand, and whether that's taking it from early on where you're taking the website content and you're converting it down to a mobile site and then you're going to an app, you have to look in just like brand and integrity and all those pieces, but still not sacrifice user interface. Ultimately, users want to make a quick and easy transaction. And I think all those pieces have been relevant in a lot of different brands. So we were fortunate enough to be involved with some of the Nissan folks and allowed to really look at how they use their mediums to tie in all of these pieces. I'm sure Cars.com's done a lot of this. I'm sure HSN has done the same thing. But if just looking from this slide, you can see all these different mediums from web, social media, print, billboards, and then really tying it all together with mobile. Really, that's key, right? I'm using QR codes, I'm using videos, I'm using SMS. This is a combined effort to make that experience even better. And again, remember, keeping that shopping, that overall direction and making sure the content's relevant to me, but I'm also tying all of those brands and those pieces together. So, I think we've already talked a few of these, so I'll kick some questions to you guys as well. These are some of the things that I think are key. We talked about this searching. If I come in and I want to search on your site, I want to search for Nissans between 2005 and 2008. I want that content to be relevant and updated. I want to make sure that they're fast and key results. I want to make sure that the experience is somewhat personalized, if at all possible. And I want to make sure that I'm getting those notifications and maybe even in-store type of things, QR codes, other kinds of pieces that really make this important to how a user interacts with your brand. And then going all the way through checkout as well, making sure that there is a call to action for everything you're doing, making sure if you can minimize the filling out of a form, if you can have some sort of program where they can sign in and they can sign up and have their information already stored and really have that transaction when I'm on a mobile device to make it very easy. These are all key pieces to really evolving this whole shopping experience online. And I'm sure that you guys have probably experienced a lot of those and probably went through them. How much time do I have? I'm running short? You gotta pick it up, okay. So I'm gonna just kind of hit some of these things if you guys want to chime in a little bit. But if you look at some of these statistics, you're gonna see that people that encounter any kind of an issue from a mobile device, and I think we talked a lot about speed, right? that means that if they're in that transaction and it's not working right, they can't get through it right, a lot of them abandoning the buying decision altogether. So you have to make sure that you're engaging with clients and you're having a great product to do that and really make that very, interesting. And then overall, I think some of these are really, really important, which I really like some of these statistics, when it talks about people really wanting to use mobile, really wanting to engage with the brands, and overall how all of these pieces, come together. So, I think whether it's 56% of people believe mobile can make the shopping experience more enjoyable, that's a huge statistic. So you have to really look at that when you're thinking about your overall, experience there. So I'll skate through the very last piece, which is really using information to really sculpt what a user interface and looks and does. So from my perspective, we use analytics to tell how many times somebody's clicking a particular button, how they're interacting with a particular brand, and serving and using that information to serve up how we get content to them. If I found out that 90% of people are pushing directions, I'm going to make sure directions is at the top. If I find out it's, find a store closest to me, I'm going to make sure that is categorized and that's really laid out from a user interface perspective to make it to where I'm serving up that content that's most relevant. So this will probably be the last question, it will be the last question that I kind of threw to you guys, but from looking at analytics or any kind of information you're compiling, how are you using that to build your user experience? So if from a perspective of being able to say, okay, I know how many people are searching for this particular product, or this is the button they're clicking the most, how do you use that to shape how you deliver your products, your mobile products?
So we definitely use the information to determine, sometimes it's what's not to put on the mobile product. So I think, having the discipline, we all love our sites, right? We all think we have the coolest products in the world. They're all much more important to us than they are to any of our consumers. And so to have the discipline to say, that's not going on, because at the end of the day, no matter what, how great the browser is, how fast it is, it's still this small. And so what is it that the consumers really want to do? And the way we actually look at it is from a standpoint of use cases. So we know that 52% of the folks are on the dealer lot when they're using this device. So what is it they want? Then we also know that another 40% are on the train or on some sort of a commuting situation. What do they want? So it's really understanding who the user is and then realizing that all mobile is not the same.
As far as the analytics, analytics is gold for our restaurant hospitality, because we're able to track it by the hour, and we look at the spike. It's like, okay, we looked at it yesterday. It's everybody's going to the mobile site and the website at 11 o'clock and 4 o'clock. These are the pages that they're looking at. They're looking at specials, the dinners, and then so with these great analytics that we're able to provide, that our customers are able to make solid marketing decisions to send out that text at 10:45 before they even get online. Oh my gosh, I was thinking about that anyway. It's along the lines of Pandora. How'd they know that I like that song?
That's scary.
It is scary. But they get that, or we know, like the last session, it's getting them the information that they want, when they want it, and how they want it. So with that analytics information, that's the power that we put in that client's hands to be able to do.
Yeah, analytics can be really powerful, but analytics can be really misleading. I talk to clients on a daily basis, and every single client I talk to, everybody tells me that 60% of their clients are iPhones. And I finally started asking why. Oh, because that's analytics what we get. And so how do you get this analytics? Oh, we get it from Omniture. And Omniture is a service that you only can get handset type when you actually go to the website. So, of course, people only who go to website can enjoy from iPhone and Android phone. And there's all this spectrum of other phones that don't really even attempt to go there. So when people don't understand analytics, how to use them, how to take them to their advantage, and how to use to appeal to the customers, that's the key, and that's the challenge.
That's a whole other Pandora's box, so to speak,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, I'd be lying if I say I don't look at the analytics daily. Excuse me. Certainly, and the other thing about that is, the analytics are different when I look at when someone's using our iPhone app, even our Android app, or even our mobile website, or even our tablet apps. It's a different customer in some cases. It's a different shopping behavior. So we are looking to refine every one of those experiences